Hi, welcome to my channel. Now, you may know by now that Congressman Riley Moore has handed over the report on the Christian genocide in Nigeria. Many say allegedly, but I'm not going to say that. It is a very real thing. So he's handed over the report to President Trump. It wasn't too lengthy, basically a two-page report. It might interest you to know that in this two-page report, the term Fulani militia was mentioned 6 times. I don't think there was any mention of Boko Haram, but there was repeated mention of the Fulani militia over and over again. That should tell you something. So here are the parts. I picked out some parts that I'm just going to quickly run through and just let you know how I understand it. All right. It's first of all, it says, now this is, I'm going to try and go through it verbatim. Strike a bilateral agreement between the United States and the government of Nigeria to protect vulnerable Christian communities from violent prosecution, eliminate jihadist terror activity in the region, further economic cooperation and counter adversaries in the region, including the Chinese Communist Party, AHA, and Russian Federation. Such an agreement should include commitments by the government of Nigeria to co-fund donor-supported humanitarian assistance, including through faith-based organizations, and to prioritize underserved communities of internally displaced persons and their host communities, especially in the predominantly Christian Middle Belt region. That's a term that some people in Nigeria don't like to hear. And these guys are just throwing it away like it's going out of style, just throwing it around like it's going out of style. Support and respond to early. Okay, the first part. Now, people have been asking why are they coming, why are they getting involved? As you can see, the mention of the Chinese and the Russians, part of it is really to upstage the Chinese and the Russians from getting too much of a foothold in Africa. That's what it sounds like to me. Now, they go further to say, go a little bit further down the line. Okay, now here's an interesting part. Now, this recommendation in particular says, remove Fulani militias from confiscated productive farmland and enable the voluntary return of displaced communities to their homes, including by ensuring security and infrastructure, thereby reducing the need for humanitarian aid and generating economic development. Well, that's pretty self explanatory. All the places that have been occupied, the hundreds of settlements that have been occupied by these terrorists, while the real owners are in IDPs. Now, what they're saying here is those people should be dislodged, and the real owners return to their homes, and security be provided for them to make sure that they're safe in their homes. Wow. Okay, so here's another one. Continue and expand security cooperation with the United States, including the divestment of Russian military equipment for American military equipment through sales and financing. Now, that's just a business deal. In other words, Nigeria, according to the agreement, would have to buy American equipment rather than Russian equipment. Technical support to the government of Nigeria to reduce and eliminate violence from armed Fulani militias. There goes that term again, including by developing a demobilization, disarmament, and reintegration program to address illicit weapons and support safer communities. Now, this part is interesting. While allowing farmers to engage in legitimate self defense. Now, they're saying here that the farmers should be allowed to legally protect themselves. In other words, it sounds like they're saying the farming communities should have the right to bear arms so they can defend themselves. The cowboys are not going to like this. Comprehensive counterterrorism cooperation to rid the region of foreign terrorist organizations that pose a direct threat to the American homeland, including through the provision of excess defense equipment and use of relevant drawdown authorities. Now, this sounds pretty much like, okay, there's a threat here, it's a threat to you, and it's also a threat to us. So they're looking at groups like ISWAP and all these other groups, and it's also in regards to the region being used as a kind of a manufacturing site for terrorists to export all over the world. So it looks like that's what they're trying to prevent in this case. Counteract the hostile foreign exploitation of Chinese illegal mining operations and their destabilizing practice of paying protection money to Fulani militias. Word has been going around that yes, Chinese are involved in illegal mining, and in fact, they're involved in some of the ruckus that's going on. So this is what is being referred to here. Visa restrictions for perpetrators, sanctions on groups and individuals who participate in or tolerate violence against Christians. Now here's the kicker actually. Demand the repeal of Sharia codes and criminal anti-blasphemy laws. Some people are really not going to like this. In fact, there have been reactions about this already. Maybe we'll handle that in my next video. It also goes further to say review and use points of leverage to compel Fulani herdsmen. This is the first time they're saying Fulani herdsmen in this report. So far, it's been Fulani militia to disarm, including by blocking export of beef and other cattle-related products to countries like Ivory Coast, Ghana, South Africa, and Senegal. I didn't realize that Nigeria was a beef exporter. Is it? Well, anyway, what they're saying is their exports should be blocked. So their business basically should be ruined until they behave. And then it goes further to say enlist the support of international partners, including France, Hungary, and the United Kingdom. I don't know where they're going with this. For me, I would rather the United Kingdom stays out of it because they're one of the biggest causes of this whole ruckus in the first place. So I'm not sure what the United States means by saying we should partner with them. But hey, you know what? We need all the help we can get. That's what I think. All right, in the next video, we're going to look at some of the reactions that have trailed this report. Some of them not so great, and some of them, whooping for joy. Feel free to like, subscribe, give me a comment. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.